ครับผม
ขอชำระค่าเช่าห้องพิชชิ่งด้วย Samsung Pay ได้ไหมครับ
ได้ครับเดี๋ยวเอามือถือแตะที่เครื่องเลยครับ
โอเคครับ
สักครู่นะครับ
จ่ายผ่านมือถือแบบนี้ปลอดภัยหรอ
ปลอดภัยแน่นอนเพราะการันตีด้วย6ธนาคารชั้นนำที่เข้าร่วมและเวลาใช้งานเนี่ยก็ต้องสแกนลายนิ้วมือทุกครั้งที่ใช้งานด้วย
เอาแล้วถ้าเกิดสมมติว่ามือถือหายอ่ะข้อมูลในบัตรเครดิตของเราจะถูกขโมยไปไหมอ่ะ
ไม่ต้องห่วงเลยเราสามารถลบข้อมูล Samsung Pay ผ่านคอมพิวเตอร์ได้ปลอดภัยกับพกบัตรเครดิตในกระเป๋าตังค์อีกนะ
นี่ครับเรียบร้อยแล้ว
ครับ
เรียบร้อยแล้วนะครับ
ขอบคุณนะครับ
ครับ
เห็นไหมแค่นี้ก็เรียบร้อยสะดวกง่ายปลอดภัยไม่ต้องพกกระเป๋าตังค์หรือบัตรเครดิตหลายใบให้ยุ่งยาก
ดีจังเลยงั้นคราวหน้าไปซื้อของเดี๋ยวขอลองใช้บ้างนะ
ใช่
กลับมาพบกับอายุน้อยล้านแคมเปญพิเศษ The Startup ในช่วงที่ 2 ที่เราได้จัดเตรียมสถานที่สำหรับการพิชชิ่งไว้พร้อมแล้วการนำเสนอไอเดียต่อหน้านักลงทุนของสตาร์ทอัพที่กำลังมาแรงอย่างรีฟินจะน่าสนใจขนาดไหนไปติดตามพร้อมๆกันเลยครับ
และตอนนี้นะคะเราก็ได้เปลี่ยนจากห้องนี้เนี่ยให้กลายเป็น Pitching Studio ของอายุน้อยร้อยล้านแล้วค่ะ
เราไม่ได้มาเพียงแค่นี้นะครับเรามีนักลงทุนแขกรับเชิญของอายุน้อยร้อยล้านมาด้วยนะครับขอต้อนรับนะครับคุณเปิ้ลจากแอปเวิร์บครับพี่ป้อมจาก Stock Tomorrow คุณมิ่งมงคลจาก Cool Solution พี่ตีจาก Divina Star สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ทุกท่านเป็นนักธุรกิจที่ประสบความสำเร็จแล้วก็เป็นนักลงทุนด้วยไม่ทราบว่าพี่เปิ้ลวันนี้มองอะไรในสตาร์ทอัพแล้วเวลาจะลงทุนนี่เลือกจากอะไรครับ
ก็เลือกจาก performance ของเขานะฮะแล้วก็ดูว่าความน่าสนใจของบริษัทส่วนตัวว่าเป็นยังไงถ้าดูแล้วน่าสนใจก็ลง
พี่ป้อมนี่ตัวเจ็บของวงการปกติพี่ป้อมลงอะไรบ้างครับ
ในแง่ของ Investor ก็ต้องมี Return แล้วก็ในแง่ของStartup ที่ยั่งยืนจริงเนี่ยต้องเป็นโซลูชันให้คนส่วนใหญ่ตอนนี้ผมก็ลง6ตัวก็จะมีในด้านการลงทุนกับด้านการศึกษา
อย่างวันนี้คาดหวังจะเห็นอะไรครับ
ถ้าเจ๋งจริงอยากจะลงด้วยนะ
โอ้โหบอกไว้ก่อนเลยคุณมิ่งมงคลครับนี่รู้แต่ว่าคุณมิ่งมงคลนี่ชอบลงทุนในหลายด้านวันนี้ตั้งใจมาฟังอะไรครับ
พยายามมองหาธุรกิจอะไรที่เป็นธุรกิจแห่งอนาคตครับผมพยายามหาอะไรที่สามารถที่จะตอบโจทย์พฤติกรรมผู้บริโภคที่เปลี่ยนไปในอนาคตให้ได้ยั่งยืน
ครับผมนี่พี่ตีช่วงนี้ได้ข่าวพี่ตีในหนังสือพิมพ์ทุกสัปดาห์เลยครับกับ Divina Star วันนี้คาดหวังอะไรครับ
ผมว่าถ้าดูสตาร์ทอัพผมดู2 อัน 2 คำ1 scalable ใหญ่ได้จริงเปล่า2 repeatable เสร็จแล้วเนี่ยเกิดการซื้อซ้ำไหมถ้าเกิด2 คำนี้ลุยครับ
นักลงทุนพร้อมแล้วคุณผู้ชมพร้อมแล้วถ้าน้องนพพร้อมแล้วผมขออนุญาตยกเวทีนี้ให้กับน้องนพเลยครับ
สวัสดีท่านนักธุรกิจและก็นักลงทุนทุกท่านนะครับผมชื่อพงศธรครับจากรีฟินนะครับรีฟินเนี่ยถูกสร้างขึ้นมาจากคำถามง่ายๆคำถามเดียวเลยครับว่าอะไรที่เป็นปัญหาด้านการเงินที่ใหญ่ที่สุดของคนไทยนะครับเราพบว่าวันนี้เนี่ยคนไทยกว่า 80% มีหนี้บ้านหนี้รถหนี้บัตรเครดิตซึ่งล้วนแล้วแต่เป็นหนี้ครับดังนั้นวันนี้เราก็เลยคิดว่าถ้าเราจะสร้างอะไรสักอย่างที่มาช่วยแก้ปัญหาที่ใหญ่จริงๆของคนไทยก็คือเรื่องหนี้สินนี่แหละครับและหนี้ที่ใหญ่ที่สุดของคนก็คือหนี้ของบ้านตัวอย่างเช่นบ้านของคุณป้าท่านหนึ่งครับบ้านหลังนี้ครับคุณป้าได้ซื้อบ้านก็ได้กู้เงินจากธนาคารด้วยความฝันที่ว่าสักวันหนึ่งบ้านเนี่ยจะเป็นของเราแต่รู้อะไรไหมครับบ้านเนี่ยไม่เคยเป็นของเราเลยถ้าหากว่าเรายังผ่อนไม่หมดเหมือนดังเช่นคุณป้าท่านนี้ครับที่ผ่อนมาตลอด22 ปีแต่แล้วด้วยปัจจัยหลายๆอย่างครับทำให้คุณป้าไม่ค่อยมีเงินพอที่จะจ่ายและในที่สุดบ้านก็โดนธนาคารยึดไปจึงเป็นคำถามกลับมาที่เราครับว่าเรื่องแบบนี้เนี่ยไม่มีใครอยากให้เกิดขึ้นธนาคารเองก็ไม่อยากจะให้เกิดหนี้เสียขึ้นในระบบคุณป้าเองก็ไม่อยากจะโดนยึดบ้านเพราะว่าวันนี้ครับคนไทยจำนวนน้อยมากๆที่รู้ว่าถ้าเราอยากจะซื้อบ้านในราคา3 ล้านบาทด้วยการกู้สัก30 ปีเนี่ยเราต้องเสียดอกเบี้ยอีกประมาณ4 ล้านบาทซึ่งวันนี้มีเทคนิคทางการเงินอย่างหนึ่งที่เรียกว่าการรีไฟแนนซ์ครับซึ่งการรีไฟแนนซ์เนี่ยก็คือการที่จะสามารถลดดอกเบี้ยลงมาได้ดังนั้นวันนี้การรีไฟแนนซ์เนี่ยสามารถประหยัดเงินจากดอกเบี้ยเนี่ยได้สูงสุดถึง2 ล้านบาทครับแต่ว่าที่น่าตกใจครับข่าวร้ายอย่างหนึ่งก็คือในประเทศไทยครับทุกธนาคารเนี่ยมีโปรโมชั่นรีไฟแนนซ์รวมกันเนี่ยกว่า100โปรโมชั่นถ้าวันนี้เราเลือกผิดแทนที่จะประหยัดได้2 ล้านเราอาจจะประหยัดได้แค่ 10,000 บาทก็ได้ที่สำคัญครับข่าวที่น่าตกใจที่สุดที่พวกเราเจอกันก็คือในประเทศไทยเนี่ยวงเงินสินเชื่อบ้านรวมแล้วเนี่ยที่รีไฟแนนซ์ได้ประมาณ2 ล้านบาทมีคนที่รีไฟแนนซ์เพียงแค่ไม่ถึง 10% เท่านั้นเองเพ ราะว่าการรีไฟแนนซ์เนี่ยมันยุ่งยากครับแล้วมันก็ใช้เวลานานลองนึกภาพตามนะครับว่าถ้าเราอยากรีไฟแนนซ์เราต้องเดินไปทุกๆแบงก์เก็บโปรโมชั่นมา100กว่าโปรโมชั่นแล้วเอามาคำนวณด้วยตัวเองใน Excel แล้วก็มีหลายๆท่านครับที่ต้องกรอกใบสมัครยื่นไปหลายๆธนาคารเพราะไม่รู้ว่าธนาคารไหนจะอนุมัติให้กับเรานี่จึงเป็นสิ่งที่รีฟินเกิดมาเพื่อแก้ปัญหานี้ครับเพื่อให้คนไทยเนี่ยได้ประหยัดเงินจากดอกเบี้ยง่ายที่สุดและมากที่สุดจากการรีไฟแนนซ์วันนี้ครับแค่ลูกค้าเข้ามาที่ www.refin.com เขาจะเห็นเลยครับว่าบ้านที่เขาผ่อนอยู่ปัจจุบันเนี่ยเขาโดนดอกเบี้ยเท่าไหร่ต้องจ่ายค่าดอกเบี้ยอีกเท่าไหร่และโปรโมชั่นทั้ง100โปรโมชั่นในประเทศไทยเนี่ยแต่ละโปรโมชั่นช่วยเขาประหยัดเงินได้เท่าไหร่โปรโมชั่นไหนฟรีค่าจดจำนองโปรโมชั่นไหนฟรีค่าธรรมเนียมเขาสามารถเทียบได้เลยครับว่าโปรโมชั่นไหนดีที่สุดสำหรับเขาและนอกจากนั้นครับรีฟินเนี่ยได้เชื่อมต่อกับระบบของคอมพิวเตอร์หลายๆธนาคารทำให้วันนี้ลูกค้าแค่กรอกข้อมูลสมัครออนไลน์บนเว็บไซต์ของรีฟินไม่กี่วันหลังจากนั้นก็จะทราบผล Pre-approve แล้วครับนี่คือตัวอย่างของคนที่รีไฟแนนซ์กับรีฟินนะครับตัวอย่างเช่นพี่ผู้หญิงท่านนี้ครับก่อนที่จะรีไฟแนนซ์เนี่ยโดนดอกเบี้ยอยู่ 7% ผ่อนต่อเดือนเนี่ย 30,000 บาทนะครับเลย25 ปีแต่หลังจากรีไฟแนนซ์กับรีฟินครับดอกเบี้ยเหลือแค่ 3% กว่าผ่อนเหลือเดือนละแค่ 22,000 25 ปีเท่าเดิมประหยัดได้เดือนนึงเนี่ย 8,000 บาทต่อเดือนหรือคุณพี่ท่านนี้เนี่ยอาจจะเลือกผ่อน 30,000 บาทเท่าเดิมแต่ว่าผ่อนให้สั้นลงจาก25เหลือ20 ปีก็ยังได้ Business Model ของรีฟินเนี่ยง่ายมากครับเราไม่ได้เก็บเงินใดๆไม่ได้เก็บค่าบริการใดๆจากลูกค้าเลยเพราะว่าธนาคารเนี่ยก็ให้ค่าตอบแทนเราเหมือนกันเวลาที่เรามีลูกค้าสมัครรีไฟแนนซ์ผ่านเราแล้วส่งไปที่ธนาคารตั้งแต่รีฟินเปิดตัวมาวันที่19กันยายนครับเรามีคนเนี่ยไว้วางใจมาสมัครรีไฟแนนซ์กับเราแล้วถึง 3,500 ล้านบาทแล้วก็เราเนี่ยถูกพูดถึงกันอย่างกว้างขวางครับทั้งในโทรทัศน์หนังสือพิมพ์วิทยุแมกกาซีนนะครับเพราะว่าสิ่งที่เราทำเนี่ยเราได้สร้างผลกระทบกับชีวิตของคนที่มารีไฟแนนซ์กับเราจริงๆลองคิดดูนะครับว่าเงินเกือบ 10,000 บาทที่เขาสามารถประหยัดได้ในแต่ละเดือนเนี่ยมันอาจจะหมายถึงค่าเทอมการศึกษาของลูกเขาค่ารักษาพยาบาลหรือว่าอาจจะเป็นเงินออมเพื่อเกษียณอายุของเขาเลยก็ได้พวกเราครับทำงานหนักกันมากตั้งแต่วันแรกจนมาถึงวันนี้นะครับเพราะเรารู้ดีว่าทุกๆนาทีที่รีฟินเนี่ยยังไม่เสร็จหรือทุกๆนาทีที่รีฟินเนี่ยยังไม่ได้ออกไปให้คนไทยใช้มันคือค่าเสียโอกาสครับที่คนไทยจะไม่ได้รับสิ่งดีเหล่านี้ขอบคุณทุกท่านครับ
เมื่อคุณเจอไอเดียที่ไม่สามารถหยุดคิดถึงมันได้นั่นอาจเป็นไอเดียที่ควรค่าแก่การค้นหาต่อจอร์จเจมส์อายุน้อยล้านอะคาเดมี่ยังเซลเมดมิลลิเนร์แกะร้อยล้าน2ตอน The Transformer เปลี่ยนมุมคิดพลิกธุรกิจสู่100 ล้านมาเปลี่ยนเครื่องมือทางการเงินสู่หลัก100 ล้านกับนักธุรกิจหนุ่มผู้พลิกโฉมแบรนด์สีจัดที่จะมาแกะรอยความสำเร็จของ2นักธุรกิจคุณเบสศิรุวัฒน์ผู้ชี้กฎร้านส้มตำของเมืองไทยสร้างรายได้หลักพันล้านบาทคุณตีพัฒนพงศ์เจ้าของธุรกิจสปาผู้สร้างมาตรฐานให้เป็นสปาชั้นนำสร้างรายได้กว่า100 ล้านบาทพบกันเสาร์ที่18 มีนาคมสอบถามเพิ่มเติมโทร062-610-4346Samsung Galaxy S7 ผ่านไปแล้วกับการพิชชิ่งจากรีฟินและในช่วงนี้เราได้เปิดโอกาสให้นักธุรกิจและนักลงทุนที่มาร่วมฟังได้ถามคำถามกับสตาร์ทอัพของเราซึ่งคำถามและคำตอบจะน่าสนใจขนาดไหนไปติดตามกันต่อเลยครับ
จบไปแล้วนะคะกับการพิชชิ่งระดับพันล้านจากรีฟินค่ะพิชชิ่งที่คว้ารางวัลระดับโลกมาแล้วเป็นอย่างนี้นี่เองค่ะพี่ก้อง
ครับผมแล้วผมเชื่อว่าตอนนี้นักลงทุนและนักธุรกิจที่ประสบความสำเร็จเนี่ยน่าจะมีคำถามแทนใจคุณผู้ชมผมแน่นอนเลยครับท่านนักลงทุนครับมีคำถามท่านใดบ้างครับ
ก็ดูแล้วเป็นธุรกิจที่น่าสนใจนะฮะในส่วนของ end user นี่คือชอบมากนะเพราะจะได้เซฟในส่วนที่เป็นค่าดอกเบี้ยหรืออะไรก็แล้วแต่นะฮะแต่ก็จะมีอีกฝั่งหนึ่งที่ไม่ค่อยถูกใจเท่าไหร่ก็คือฝั่งที่เป็นซัพพลายเออร์คือแบงก์มันจะมีอะไรที่เขาอาจจะคิดว่ามาเป็นคู่แข่งแล้วก็แบงก์เองสามารถที่จะเทิร์นตัวเองมาเป็นคู่แข่งของรีฟินได้เช่นกัน
รีฟินครับในเมื่อมีแบงก์ซึ่งเราอาจจะไปมีผลประโยชน์ทับซ้อนหรืออะไรบางอย่างกับทางแบงก์นี่จะแก้ปัญหานี้ไงครับในระยะยาว
จริงๆแล้วเนี่ยหลักคิดของรีฟินคือการเปลี่ยนคู่แข่งให้เป็นคู่ค้าค่ะเรามีความเชื่อว่าเราไม่สามารถอยู่ได้ด้วยลำพังคนเดียวดังนั้นเนี่ยธุรกิจที่ดีคือธุรกิจที่ทุกคนต้องได้ประโยชน์ end user ได้ประโยชน์ละรีฟินได้ประโยชน์นะคะประเทศได้ประโยชน์สิ่งสำคัญก็คือคู่ค้าเนี่ยต้องได้ประโยชน์หลายธนาคารนะคะเขามีโปรโมชั่นดีๆนะคะซึ่งเป็นโปรโมชั่นที่ดีมากๆเลย นะคะปัญหาของเขาก็คือเขาไม่สามารถส่งต่อโปรโมชั่นเหล่านี้ไปถึงมือลูกค้าได้เขาก็เลยนำโปรโมชั่นที่ดีกว่ามากๆตรงนี้ค่ะมาเป็นพันธมิตรกับรีฟินนะคะแล้วในท้ายที่สุดเนี่ยค่ะเมื่อเป็นพันธมิตรแล้วเนี่ยทางแบงก์เองเนี่ยก็จะได้ประโยชน์กลับไปก็คือได้ยอดกลับไปลูกค้าเองก็ได้ดอกเบี้ยที่ลดลงรีฟินก็ได้รายได้นะคะจากตรงนั้น
เมื่อกี้ผมชอบนะที่พรีเซนต์ว่าตัวเงินเนี่ยจะมาจากฝั่งแบงค์นะฮะส่วนยูเซอร์เนี่ยไม่ต้องเสียอันนี้เป็นการช่วยเขาจริงๆผมมีคำถามว่าเราจะทำยังไงให้คนที่จำนองบ้านหรือว่าเป็นหนี้กับธนาคารทั้งประเทศเนี่ยนะฮะใช้ตัวแพลตฟอร์มนี้มากขึ้นจากวันนี้ไปอีก10 เท่าตัวนะฮะจะใช้เวลาเท่าไหร่
จริงๆแล้วเนี่ยเราสเกลแบบต้องเรียกว่า wonderful มาตลอดตอนที่เราทำตอนนั้นทำเขาเรียก close alpha open beta อยู่เนี่ยยอดก็เข้ามาเยอะละตอนเรามา soft launch เนี่ยก็โตจากตรงนั้น10 เท่าตอนที่เรา public launch ก็โตอีก10 เท่าวันนี้ทั้งตลาดมี refinance แค่ 60,000 ล้านแต่ยอดที่สามารถ refinance ได้จริงๆคือ2 ล้านล้านและธุรกิจทางด้าน developer เนี่ยก็คืออสังหาริมทรัพย์เนี่ยเติบโตปีละ600,000 ล้านบวกนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยไม่ว่ารีฟินวันนี้จะเติบโตอีก10 เท่าหรือ100 เท่าไม่มีทางชนะตลาด developer มันไปอีกไกลมากกว่าจะชนะกันได้แต่ถึงณจุดนั้นเราเชื่อว่าเราจะมีพันธมิตรในต่างประเทศแล้วนะคะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยเราไม่ได้เป็นกังวลกับการเติบโตเลยเราเป็นกังวลว่าเราจะทำยังไงให้ทำงานทันมากกว่านะคะ
จากที่ฟังเมื่อกี้นะครับรู้สึกว่าเป็นบริการที่ค่อนข้างโดนใจผม as a consumer เป็นคนหนึ่งที่refinance บ้านอยู่บ่อยๆขอถามคำถามนี้ว่าถ้าสมมติพี่ๆแต่ละคนนะครับลงทุนในรีฟินนะครับทางรีฟินเนี่ยจะไปต่อยอดทำอะไรที่มันเป็นเป้าหมายแห่งอนาคตได้บ้าง
จริงๆรีฟินเนี่ยตอนที่เราเริ่มต้นเนี่ยเราคือเป็นแพลตฟอร์มที่อยากจะช่วยเหลือคนไทยในการบริหารหนี้อยู่แล้วแล้วก็หยิบยกเรื่องการบริหารหนี้บ้านขึ้นมาก่อนดังนั้นถามว่าวันนี้ถ้านักลงทุนที่เห็นอุดมการณ์เราและอยากจะร่วมอุดมการณ์กับเราเนี่ยเรายังมีแพลตฟอร์มที่จะช่วยคนไทยอีกเยอะแยะเลยในด้านของหนี้หรือรวมไปถึงว่าเราไม่ได้มองว่าประเทศไทยอย่างเดียวนะเรามองคนทั้งโลกเลยว่าเขาก็ควรจะได้สิ่งดีๆนี้ด้วยนะครับในการที่จะได้ต้นทุนทางการเงินที่เหมาะสมกับเขานะครับบ้านเป็นของเขาเร็วขึ้นดังนั้นทั้งสเกลในโมเดลเดิมก็สามารถสเกลไปทั่วโลกได้หรือรวมไปถึงโมเดลการบริหารหนี้อื่นๆที่รีฟินกำลังจะวิเคราะห์และทำมันขึ้นมาเพื่อช่วยคนไทยและคนทั้งโลกด้วยเป็นที่มาว่าเงินลงทุนก้อนนี้เอามาเนี่ยจะสามารถช่วยคนได้อีกมากมายเลยครับแต่ธุรกิจก็จะ
academic affair and quality assurance of Rajamangala University of Technology Isan to deliver a welcoming speech and opening address for the project. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, Mr. Oleg Wood, a representative from Thai Embassy in Israel, Ms. Alisa, Assistant to the President, Dr. Anek Charatakdi. On behalf of a cooperative organizing host, Rajamangala University of Technology, RMUTI Get Ready for Startup with Innovations at Rajamangala University of Technology Isan in Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. I'm pleased that the project had attracted so many distinguished business information from both technologies and innovation. I'm confident that the project will succeed in raising the new knowledge and innovation of our SMEs business, both nationally and internationally. Moreover, this project is also a good opportunity for entrepreneurs to transfer knowledge about their business for following Thai government Thailand 4.0 project. We hope that this project will be beneficial for all participants who are interested in business, new innovation, as well as country development to stand equally with Civilized International. Finally, I would like to thank all participants. Thank you very much.
Would you please on the stage for a while? I would like to invite Mr. Oleg Boyd on the stage also, and I also would like to invite Dr. Cherampol Yeungkang to present the token of appreciation to Mr. Oleg Boyd. Please. And may I now invite the administrative team, Kun Arisa, the representative from Thai Embassy in Israel, and the assistant to the President, Dr. Anek, on the stage to take group photo together. Please welcome. Before we start the presentation of our honored guest speaker, may I now introduce his biological of Mr. Oleg Boyd. Mr. Oleg Boyd served as the Research and Development Director of Joint Telecom Innovation Labs, Israel, focusing on future technologies in the fields of cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and machine, deep learning, and as the Research and Development Director for Cyber at BGU, an umbrella organization responsible for all cybersecurity research and industrial corporations at Ben Gurion University, Beersheba, Israel Cyber Capital. Prior to joining DT and Cyber at BGU, Oleg acted as an attorney specializing in high-tech and finance and represented a broad spectrum of local and international clients, including individual and institutional investors, VCs, and long list of startup and high-tech companies, among many others. In this capacity, Oleg served as a member of the High-Tech Committee of the Israel Bar Association. In addition, Oleg holds both bachelor's and master's degree in international business laws, as well as a degree in business and management from IDC, Peria, Israel. Oleg served as a mentor in various technological programs, incubators, and accelerators, and is a frequent speaker in various technological events. Would you please give a warm welcome to our honored guest speaker?
Thank you. I wish every class I was teaching in Israel would have begun like that. So thank you for the warm welcome. We're going to speak today about several things. The main theme is obviously innovation and startups. So I want to begin to discuss with you the state of startups in the last few years, where innovation is going, what are the most important and interesting trends in startups, and what does it say about us. This is going to be my first presentation. Afterwards, we'll speak about where I'm coming from and what we are doing. I'll discuss how we began and what we are doing now, and I'll give you a few examples of the things that we are working on. The presentation has lots of videos to keep it interactive. If you have any questions, please just stop me and ask. Just raise your hand. I will be glad to answer any questions that you have. So let's start with the first presentation. Like I told you, the first presentation is going to be about innovation and what startups are doing today, where they are going, and how academia is being involved with the startups. So the first presentation will discuss the importance of innovation, what innovation is, obviously, because many people don't know how to define innovation, and role of academia in promoting innovation, and obviously your role. So why innovation is important? I want to ask you the first question during this presentation, and what have been the most important developments in human history? Any ideas? What has been the most important development in human history? Any ideas? Because there are many potential candidates for this question. I'll break it down for you. So this is actually a very hard question to answer, because there are many, many important events. Which one is most important? We don't really know. So maybe we should break this question down to sub-questions. So if we're asking about innovation in humanity, when did humanity begin? And this is also a hard question. Maybe 60,000 BC, when Homo sapiens went outside of Africa. This is when the humanity began, maybe. Maybe it began 25,000 BC. That's where Homo sapiens actually killed the remaining Neanderthals and remained the only species on the earth. Or maybe the humanity began 14,000 years ago, after the Ice Age has ended. So again, even if we break down the main question to sub-questions, we cannot even answer the sub-questions, but we have additional sub-questions for the, what's the criteria? Even if we know when humanity began, how do you know how to measure the different events during this time? So what's a really important event? What really bends the curve? What really changes dramatically things for all of us? And this is the question that many people try to answer, and there are many possible answers to this question. So maybe the most important event is the domestication of animals, when humanity actually transitioned to farming. Or maybe the beginning of agriculture, when people started to grow their own food. It really changed things dramatically for us. Or maybe early urbanization. So when people started to live together, suddenly viruses and other diseases started to spread. Or maybe wars and empires are the most important events during the humanity. The rise of new civilizations, the transformation of commerce and customs, or maybe the rise of philosophers, the rise of ideas, right? Transformation of thought. Suddenly, after the philosophical age, the thinking of humanity changed, and it's very important, obviously. Or maybe the rise of religions. Maybe when the religions were introduced to humanity, this is the most important event, right? It's transformation of morals and ideas, and it's also very important. Maybe the rise of writing. Maybe when humanity invented writing, this is the most important thing. All of these things sound very, very important. Or maybe the rise of democracy. Maybe Black Death. Maybe Columbus, when he went to discover America, it's also very important. So which one of these is really important? All of them are really important, but what's the most important event? And actually, this is exactly the question that Jan Morris was asking himself. He's a very famous anthropologist, and he wrote a book on this matter. And what he tried to do is to quantify the scientific events in humanity, the most important events. He tried to measure mathematically what's the most important event. And actually, this entire book, he explains how he tries to measure it. So you probably should read it. So he invented something that is called social index, and that's the index of how you measure social events. And he called it quantification of social developments, a group's ability to master its physical and intellectual environment to get things done over time. And he drew a very interesting graph after this quantification. And this is how the graph looks like. So actually you have two curves on this graph. One curve is the social development index, and the other curve is the amount of human population, right? So during long time, we have 8,000 years BC, we have 5,000 years BC, we have 0 BC. So nothing really changed despite all of the things that we have discussed, right? Every example that we discussed previously, the rise of civilizations and wars and empires and diseases and domestication of animals and agriculture, none of that really changed to humanity. It was very important, but it didn't bend the curve, right? So what happened here? What happened at this point that really bent the curve for all of us? Any ideas? It can be a wrong answer as well. No? Okay, so actually what happened at this point when the curve bent is the invention of the steam engine. It was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. So basically when the Industrial Revolution began, it really changed a lot for humanity. So the social index jumped and the amount of population jumped as well. So it really changed things dramatically for humanity. It was the only event that really mattered for all of us. So what's innovation? What's innovation? Let's spend some time over this question. So we have great innovations, right? We have big innovations like the steam engine that started the Industrial Revolution and changes everything for everyone for a long period of time. So that's a great innovation. And we have small innovations as well. Small innovations are also important, but they're not changing everything for everyone. They're changing small things for a small amount of people, maybe for some groups. So I want to demonstrate what it can look like. But first, we already have to agree that innovation comes in different sizes and forms, and I usually like to group innovation to two major groups. One of them is evolution, and the other one is revolution. So you have revolutionary innovation when you really change everything for everyone using technology. And small innovation is actually evolutionary step when we try to improve constantly in the things that we are doing. So many people find it very important as well. If you find a new drug for something, if you find a new solution for a problem, so we always try to get better, but in evolutionary steps. So they always make things easier for some amount of the population for some period of time, but not for the entire population. So let me give you an example. As I promised, there are going to be some videos to keep you awake for 3 hours. Yeah, so I'm afraid that this is not working. Where is the tech guy? Sorry, we'll just find the individual file, and then I will. Okay. Let's see if it's working. I hope so. If not, then we'll have to improvise. Okay.
But Holland comes in for a pit stop. Time to refuel and change tires. Lou Moore himself changes the tires.
So this
Only
is an
4 crew
example
members,
of
including the driver, are allowed to
innovation
work
which
on
is
the car.
gradual.
It's a tense time. Holland stays in his seat, anxious to get away. Let's watch.
So it's the 50s, and we can now see how these guys are changing the tires and refueling the Formula One car during the competition.
The tires are changed at last. A crewman polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stopped.
67 seconds, not bad. And this is 5 years ago, 4 years ago in Melbourne, Australia. So this is just to give you an idea of how evolution looked like, right? So this is not a revolution. They didn't revolutionize anything. They just, over the years, they're getting better and better in something that they're doing. It's also very important because instead of 67 seconds, they are now changing the tires in a matter of 2 seconds. It's also very important, specifically in this sport, but it doesn't revolutionize anything. Okay, so I don't know if you heard this story, especially the students who are studying business administration here, but a couple of months ago, Harvard University, they have one of the most prestigious MBA programs in the world, and they started to question themselves why the prestige of Harvard MBA is going down. And they wrote some internal documents on it. It was internal memos, and these memos were leaked to the internet. And the Economist paper wrote an article describing what was said in these documents, what Harvard is thinking about itself in terms of business administration. And one interesting paragraph there told that one of the reasons that the reputation of Harvard is going down in business administration is because the most important business book of our era was not written in Harvard. It was written by professors in Stanford and MIT. And the book that they were discussing is this book. According to Harvard, this is the most important business book in our era. It's called The Second Machine Age. If you haven't read it by now, you should. And what this book is claiming is the following. So they are saying that the Industrial Revolution was the first machine age, which we already agreed was the most important revolution of humanity. And now, in these days, we are living in the second machine age. So what did they mean? What did they mean by saying that currently we are living the most important revolution of our time? This is coverage of artificial intelligence news in papers all around the world, specifically in technological papers. And we can see that since 2011, actually the coverage of artificial intelligence is spiking. So meaning there are more and more news about artificial intelligence. I don't know how many of you have heard about artificial intelligence, but these guys who wrote that book, the second machine age, they meant that artificial intelligence is the reason, is the engine, is the new steam engine behind the second industrial revolution. So we are living in very exciting times, and I want to show you a few examples of what artificial intelligence is, because this is the most important currently part of the industrial revolution that we are living. There are many other important parts, such as 3D printing and IoT and quantum computing, but this is the most revolution that currently we are under living. And this is what affects most of us in the most dramatic ways, and we'll discuss it also in a few minutes. And I want to give you a few examples of what is artificial intelligence and what it can do for you. So, for many, many years, we were living in the era of computers, right? Computers were invented quite some time ago during the Second World War. But we lived in the era of productivity paradox. So what does it mean, productivity paradox? Although organizations and universities and big corporations, they were heavily investing in computer infrastructure, but the fact that they were spending a lot of money didn't really change anything to their profits. So the profits remained the same. So despite the fact that of the heavy investing, it didn't really change much. So you can read about it. There were many, many excuses or many reasons why, despite of this huge spending, it still doesn't change much. But this is what we call productivity paradox. So despite of heavy investing in innovation, the productivity didn't go up. And this is all changing right now. So we're already outside of productivity paradox. And now actually computerized systems are able to raise dramatically the productivity of people and actually also to replace people. And this is also very worrying, and we'll discuss it as well. So we have a wide array of applications of artificial intelligence, or AI, as we can call it, in robotics, in medicine, in self-driving cars, in drones, virtual or augmented reality, smart cities, smart homes. So all of these fields are being affected by artificial intelligence. So before going to examples, maybe a few words about how it works. This is also from The Economist, one of the most important economical papers of our time. And they're claiming that the world's most valuable resource is no longer oil, but data. And data actually is the oil on which artificial intelligence performs. Basically, you give a lot of data to artificial intelligence systems, and they're able to understand, to find hidden patterns in this data and to take actions based on this data. So how does it work? So for example, if I want to teach my computer to start recognizing handwriting, it's a very, very difficult task. So for those of you who are not in engineering departments, so imagine how software programmer works. So what does he do? If you're asking him, a programmer, to write a software which is utilized as a calculator, right? So basically you tell him, I want you to write for me to create a new calculator. So what does he do? He knows how mathematics works, right? So he just takes the logic of mathematics and he creates a software. He writes line by line a program which tells the calculator how to work. Now imagine if you tell this programmer to write a software which is able to recognize handwriting. What should he do? How do you write something like that? You cannot explain to the computer how to recognize handwriting because you yourself, you have no idea how you recognize handwriting. Your brain, you have no idea how it works. When you're looking at one, how does your brain knows that it's one and not two? So it's very, very hard for us to understand how the human brain works. And if we cannot understand it, we cannot explain to the computers how to do this task. So this is why for many, many years, many of these tasks were impossible for computers to do. Handwriting recognition and speech recognition and even autonomous driving. So imagine you have to write a software program for autonomous car, right? What do you have to write in this program? Every possible scenario from every possible A to every possible B in any possible traffic condition, right? It's impossible. It's an infinite number of options, and you cannot write all of them as a software. So this is also was very impossible until last few years, until the rise of artificial intelligence systems. So just to give you, this is not a technical lecture, so just to give you a sense of how does it work. So imagine I want to teach the computer how to recognize handwriting. So first, this is one, right? So first I'm explaining to the computers which pixels are being affected if I'm writing one, and what's the intensity of the pixels being affected. So once I teach it that one could look like that, then I give it much more examples. So I give it many, many examples of how different ones look like and how different twos look like. And the more examples I give it, the more accurate it becomes. So it just tries to understand what are the mutual patterns among all of the examples of ones. And once the computer understands the patterns, then it can recognize what's one and what's two, because now it knows how one looks like, right? So we just, again, this is what economists meant when they said that data is the new oil. The more data I give to these systems, the more accurate the result is. So another short video to keep you up. So this is what we have just discussed. So basically what now the computers are doing using artificial intelligence system, they're just trying to mimic the way brain works. We call it deep learning. So we have these artificial neurons being connected to each other, and we feed them with a lot of data instead of hard coding them. And then they by themselves find the patterns in the data just like the human brain does. And Facebook uses it a lot, Google uses it a lot, all of the big companies are using it a lot, and we have a lot of startups in this domain. As I told you, this is probably the most important domain currently in innovation, and it's going to change everything. It already is changing everything, so you probably should be aware of it. So for example, Facebook, when you browse in Facebook and you get your feed is being personalized for you, right? How does Facebook knows what interests you? So it has a lot of data about you, what you were been previously, and what's your age, and what's your gender, who your friends are, and the more data it has about you, the more accurate it can be in predicted what would you like to see on your feed. Again, data is the new oil. So again, it's not yet working as a human brain, but we're getting closer. There's a race for general AI. General AI meaning we're trying to create a system which will mimic our brain entirely. Currently what we have is many subsystems or small systems which are mimicking small portions of how our brain works, but we are not still able to create general AI, a system that mimics the entire brain. I'll give you an example of how deep learning system works. So here you see a few pictures of a dog and a few pictures of a muffin. And actually, even for the human eye, it's a bit confusing. But for the deep learning systems or for artificial intelligence system, it's quite easy to understand where the dog is and where the muffin is. The more examples of muffins it has and the more examples of dogs it has, it can actually distinguish between them much better than the humans do. So what are the rising categories in artificial intelligence? So one of them is autonomous driving or autonomous flying. We already discussed it. I'll give you a few examples. Another one is perception of seeing and understanding, creating content, making predictions, identifying things, optimizations of problems, and language processing or natural language processing and understanding the language. We'll go over these categories and I'll give you a few examples of the most innovative startups that we have currently. So most of the ideas or many of the examples I've taken from Andreessen Horowitz. It's a venture capital firm, one of the biggest in the United States, and very successful. They invested in many famous companies before they became famous. And some of the ideas I took from there, or some of the examples I took from there, and we'll discuss some of these. So autonomous driving, just to give you a sense of how fast this revolution is unfolding. So there's the US DARPA. Did you hear about DARPA? It's the United States Ministry of Defense research arm. They are the guys who invented the internet. So they have, every year they have a new challenge for the public. And in 2005, the challenge was to create a self-driving car which will drive 140 kilometers in the desert in Nevada, no obstacles, just driving from the beginning line to the end line. So what happened there? So 15 cars were submitted to the competition. 2 cars were not able to get to the starting point. They just broke. 1 car flipped over in the starting point area, and only 4 cars were still operational after 3 hours. The winning car, it drove only 7.4 miles, which is just slightly more than 10 kilometers. This is in 2005. So we were very far from autonomous driving. Look what happened only 2 years later. In the challenge of 2007, DARPA, this time their challenge was to drive self-driving cars inside of a city. Inside of the city with traffic and with traffic lights. And many, many teams submitted. Actually, more than 200 teams submitted to the contest, and only 11 were eligible to participate in the finals because of the security regulations and safety regulations. And the goal was to navigate almost 100 kilometers inside a city. And the rules that you must finish the course within 6 hours, and you must obey all traffic signs. And actually, 6 cars finished the competition successfully. So we have only 2 years gap between 2005, not able to do anything, not able to drive by itself, until 2007, where many cars are able to drive by themselves without a driver in urban areas, obeying all traffic lights and adapting to the traffic conditions. The winning team, by the way, was from Carnegie Mellon University. So we'll discuss a bit more about the importance of universities and academia and innovation, but most of the teams were actually academic teams. Also in 2005, the same. So again, how fast this is going. This is a guy whose name is George Hotz. Did you hear about him? Someone? So actually he created a self-driving car by himself in his garage a few years ago. 1 person, right? So this is how easy it is now. This is the actual car that he made. So he connected the computer, obviously. He inserted a joystick in case he needs to steer, but still it's a self-driving car. And this is some internal components that controlling the car. And just, I want to begin this video. We will not watch all of it because it's almost 5 minutes. So just to give you a sense what it is about.
I was approached by a friend to come build this technology for Tesla. I saw what they were doing, and I'm like, I am confident with the research I've seen that I can beat that. And then one day I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go buy a car. I'm going to throw some cameras in it, throw some computers in it. We're just going to make this work. Done. Now, ask yourself, what is self-driving, right? So a lot of cars already have cruise control. In some ways, cruise control is a self-driving car, and then some cars have adaptive cruise control, which that does the brake automatically. And what we're building is level 3 automation. Level 3 automation, 99% of the time, you have to do absolutely nothing except watch the car drive. And level 4 automation is, of course, when cars can drive with no people in them at all. I'm George Hotz, and I'm about to be the next billion-dollar CEO. I don't know, what else do you want?
George Hotz came onto the scene as a 17-year-old hacking phenomenon. He was the first person to break open the iPhone and the first person to hack Sony's PlayStation. He spent a few years working odd jobs around Silicon Valley and competing in security competitions. Now, after 2 years in virtual hiding, he's come out to show the world what might be his greatest invention yet.
You can doubt, and you should doubt. I doubt everyone who says everything, but once I see it, you can't doubt anymore, right?
So this is the car. Again, he was the first person to hack an iPhone, to break an iPhone, and to hack into the Sony PlayStation. And a few years later, he saw an article about self-driving cars, and he understood that he can do it by himself.
That's how we're reading the steering angle. And we can also send our own messages, which are going to tell the car to
So
actually
again,
turn the steering wheel.
it's a 5 minutes long video, so we'll skip most of it. But again, innovation, one person with an idea, sitting in a garage and thinking that he can do it. Budweiser, you're familiar with this beer, with this brand? We can see a truck of Budweiser on an American road. Now, what's interesting about this picture is, do you see the Auto logo? Right, it's Budweiser Auto. Auto is an Israeli startup that created self-driving technology. So basically what they're doing is they're installing their systems in existing cars. So instead of buying a self-driving car, you can still use your own car, only you can adapt it and change it to a self-driving car. So this is actual picture of a Budweiser truck which is powered by this technology, and it goes by himself alone from the brewery to the actual store. No driver inside. This is already happening in California. So imagine what does it mean for us if we need no more drivers, right? So we even cannot understand all of the implications of this future, right? So we only think about the 50 million drivers that we currently have in the world. So they are for sure going to be affected. All of the truck drivers and the taxi drivers and professional drivers, in a few years from now, they are going to be out of job because the cars are going to be driving themselves, right? But what does it mean in the outer circles? For example, what does it mean about mechanics? Right, so if you have self-driving cars, most of them are actually electrical. You have less and less malfunctions, so we'll need less garages and less mechanics. But it's also obvious. Let's take it a step further. So currently, most of the organ implants in hospitals are coming from victims of accidents. But we will not have any more accidents, or the amount of accidents will decrease dramatically. So again, we will have no more organs that we can implant. What does it mean about the amount of doctors that we need, or the amount of nurses in the hospitals if we don't anymore have car accidents? So the implications are extremely wide, and we still don't understand all of the implications with autonomous driving, and this is just one example of a revolution of artificial intelligence. Only one area, just self-driving. So a few more examples. This is a fun video. So it's Dispatch. It's a startup that operates in the Silicon Valley, and they're running some pilots. This is a pilot from Singapore, I think. It's a self-driving cart. So basically, it will go from the grocery store to your home without the need for you to take the groceries alone or to send someone to pick them up. It goes autonomously. Actually, the grocery store just tells it where to go, at which hour. Then it loads and goes to the person. It's a last mile technology, we call it, or last mile delivery. Again, how many people are doing it right now? Maybe one last example in this area. of things that are driving and flying by themselves and swimming.
Ever since I've been little, I've been very scared of the dark. You associate darkness with being unsafe. A regular shift here can be quite varying. The evenings and the week are a little bit quieter. It can be a little bit scary at times. A street lamp will only give you light so far, especially the street lamps around here.
Typically, we get called out to find vulnerable missing people. The time that we get the majority of our call-outs is in the evenings. I suppose most of the areas that we get called to don't have particularly adequate lighting. It's often because street lighting is in the towns and cities.
I definitely think that light is something that everybody needs, especially at night. It's just a source of comfort and a source of safety.
The most dangerous element of driving to the call-outs at night is the unfamiliarity of the area. Just to have that extra set of lights to show you where the road is going, where the bends are coming up, it would just be really helpful. Light would definitely be more beneficial if it was available in more areas of the countryside. The ability to have the way lit out for you is something that's fantastic.
Again, startup, which is called Fleet Lights, and it provides a street light as a service, and the street lights actually follow you when you need them, and these things are actually completely autonomous. You just have an application, you call for it, and they fly by themselves, powered by artificial intelligence. This is how they know how to write and to where, how to route. So just a few sporadic examples, because we don't have much time, but the examples are much broader. This is just the beginning. We have already drones which are planting seeds, right? They are just flying over specific terrain that we predetermined, and they're shooting seeds of new trees or new plants or whatever. Again, a few examples. What does it mean for us as humans for the next few years in terms of jobs? The next category is perception. Perception meaning the ability of a computer to see and understand what it sees. So again, a few examples. This is an application, again, a startup that wrote an application that can identify almost anything that you're showing to it. And the funny thing about it is that it identifies it much better than humans do. So if I'm showing you this pointer, you can tell me as a human that this is a pointer, right? But the artificial intelligence can also tell you what company produces this pointer, at what year it was produced, so much more information that we do not possess. So actually the artificial intelligence systems today can look at things and identify them much better than you do. If I'm showing to the application this table, it can tell me who the designer is, besides of just understanding that this is a table. So again, you're showing it anything, it can just write down for you what it is, right? It's a cup from IKEA. Japan Airways Bank. So just a quick demonstration of the abilities. And again, we have many, many examples in this domain. There's a startup in the United States which actually is into agriculture. I understood that you have an agriculture faculty here. So what they are doing is they have actually artificial intelligence on the combiner itself, on the tractor, and when the tractor goes through the field, instead of just spreading fertilizer all over like we used to do it now, it sees, in this case it's lettuce heads, I think, so it sees the plants, and according to the picture that it sees, it determines in real time whether it should spray fertilizer or not. So just an example in the advancement of agriculture, I think, yeah, I have a video. It's Blue River technology. But again, once you understand the technology, you can understand it can be applied everywhere. So you see it sprays only where it needs to. It doesn't spray all over. So again, if I would have told my farmer actually to spray only on the plants that need spraying, he would have no idea what to do, which needs spraying, which doesn't need spraying. So what this startup did actually, it studied very carefully how the plants look like when they're sick, when they're not growing, and again, data is the new oil. They feed the systems with lots of data, and now this artificial intelligence system is able to understand when the plant needs fertilizing. And the fertilizing is much more efficient right now. You don't have to spray everything that you have. Another example, this is from Japan, just to give you a sense of how easy it can be done and how cheap it is. So this is a true story. Last year, a Japanese farmer, he studied technology a bit by himself, and he developed a system for less than $1,000 He developed a system which is based on artificial intelligence, which can actually sort cucumbers for him. You know that in Japan they're very strict about the categories of fruits and vegetables. So when they're selling, when the farmers are selling vegetables to the markets or vegetables to the stores, they categorize them to big cucumbers, small cucumbers, nice cucumbers, less nice cucumbers, and each category is being priced differently. So it's a very demanding job in these manual categorizations. Until so now, actually, farmers, were categorizing it by themselves. So what he did, he developed a system that can categorize it based on, again, just seeing the cucumber and understanding automatically to which category it belongs. And this is, again, just a proof of concept, that it can be scaled to much bigger proportions, but this is just a demonstration of how easy it can be done. One farmer, so it's a bit slow because it's a proof of concept, a very cheap proof of concept, but it can be commercialized very easily. So again, a system based on artificial intelligence looks using the camera on the cucumber and then decides to which box it should go based on the size and based on how it looks, based on the color, just puts the cucumbers there. One guy in the basement. So again, what does it mean for the jobs of the people who are currently sorting it once this kind of solution is going to be commercialized? Another example, I can see that you like videos.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? no lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
So it's already operational. These kinds of stores in the United States, it's called Amazon Go, and you don't have cashiers. You just go inside using your application, you check in using the application. The store has cameras all over the place, and they can actually recognize who is taking what. They can identify what kind of things you took off the shelves, what did you put in your bag, and once you're going out, you're automatically being billed. Using, again, computer vision, they just try to understand what you took, and according to what you took, you're being billed. What does it mean for people who are working currently in stores? If all of the stores are going to be digitalized, right? You don't need to have cashiers. You don't need to have anything, any humans. Another example from stores.
We work with groups and with people and with startups and organizations that no one would think Lowe's would work with. My name is Kyle Nell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Lowe's Innovation Labs. Lowe's Innovation Labs is here to build new technologies to solve consumer problems with uncommon partners. We focus on making science fiction a reality. Retail really hasn't changed much in the last couple hundred years. The robots are the first thing that can really change the customer experience.
Hello, I am Oshbot, the Orchard Store Robot Helper. What are you looking for today?
The robot will come up to you and will say, hi, what can I help you with?
Where can I find more of these?
I'm looking for hammers. Me gustaría comprar esto.
Can you place the object in my viewfinder? Is this the item you're looking for?
Yes.
I'll take you.
Once you show the robot the item, it will then navigate you to where that item can be found.
The robot has multiple sensors and is able to navigate inside of the store. It creates a map overnight. So the next day in the morning, the robot knows where the products are located.
I'll take you to the Plum 16-ounce flat contoured handle hammer.
One of my favorite parts of the robot is its ability to speak multiple languages.
Seguro que Martillo gustaría. ¿Puedo hablar con un experto en plomería? Claro, te pongo en contacto.
It allows you to connect remotely with another store associate in a different location.
Hola, soy Sara. ¿Cómo le puedo ayudar hoy? SU Labs and the Lowe's Innovation Lab are working together to experiment with exponentially accelerating technologies to really rethink how retail is done.
Lowe's is one of those amazing organizations on the planet. They have an executive team that really thinks about how to deploy new technologies in very courageous new ways.
3D scanning, autonomous navigation, natural language processing, collision avoidance, all of these things come together to make
so I think we understand the idea.
A whole different experience than anything in retail right now.
Just skip
I think it's a tool for our associates that really
So again, robots replacing humans, and they're actually better than humans because they know better than a human where every item is located, on which shelf. It can take you to the shelf. It can speak with the customer in many, many languages, unlike humans, right? So it doesn't matter if you're a customer who is speaking Mandarin or Russian or English. It doesn't really matter to the robot because it can interact with you on any language that you want. So in that sense, they are much better than human workers, and obviously they're much cheaper because you don't have to pay salary to the robot once you buy it. Many other examples that I could have shown, we don't have the time for it. But also in the retail, robots there that can know whether you have items placed on the shelf or not, and robots that can automatically actually fill the shelves and take the items to the shelves. You no longer need to refill them by humans because the robots are doing it much better. Amazon warehouses, taking items from the warehouse, taking it to packaging, everything is being almost completely automated. So again, what does it mean in terms of jobs? Another example of perception. So again, we don't have time to go into examples, but you can Google it. There are many. Understanding emotions. So actually, when the robot camera of hooked to artificial intelligence is looking at you, it can tell you in what mood you are, whether you're happy, whether you're sad. And it's very important to understand emotions because then you can adapt actually the recommendations that you are giving to a human. So imagine you're in front of your TV and you want to watch a movie. You're in front of your VOD service. You can choose any movie you want, and you know in the new systems they have recommendations. So once you turn on the TV, actually it can recommend to you some movies. Now most of recommendation systems try to adjust themselves to the tastes of the customer. So once the system understands that you are currently happy, maybe it can give you one movie, recommend one movie, and once you're sad, maybe it will recommend, I don't know, a comedy to lift you up. So just again, it's very important if you want to sell better to understand the emotions of the customer. Sentiment analysis is also a very important topic. So to analyze huge amounts of information and to realize whether the information is positive or negative. For example, you can read lots of articles in the newspaper about a certain company. You can have an analyst doing it for you to understand whether it's positive or negative coverage in the news press, or you can have a machine using artificial intelligence swiping all the web, all the internet, reading all of the articles in a matter of seconds about a specific topic, and then understanding immediately what's the sentiment, whether the coverage is positive or negative. So again, this is something the humans are very bad at, and the algorithms are much better. So another category is creating content. So artificial intelligence actually creates content, and it's quite good in creating content. So this is an article from, I think, from Wired. What news writing bots means for the future of the journalism. So if we have artificial intelligence which is able to write news, so what does it mean for the human journalists? You know that in the last Olympics, there was a Chinese website newspaper that actually published news about the Olympics using artificial intelligence alone. So artificial intelligence actually wrote all of the articles. that a malicious software is running in the background trying to achieve some malicious activity. So again, just a few examples. Another category of artificial intelligence is optimization, making things better. So again, a few examples. So there was a famous story 6 years ago when UPS is the shipping company or the carrier company which ships deliveries to you. It's a delivery company. So there was a very famous story about what they did. They actually hired some guys who are experts in data science and artificial intelligence, and they told them, just we have a lot of data about how our car are driving. You can analyze the GPS information, you can analyze the delivery information. We are not sure what we want to achieve with this data, but play around with it, create some insights. And what they did, they actually analyzed the data, and one of their recommendations was that the trucks should not turn left, ever. What they found actually is that most of the accidents happening when the cars are turning left in the United States. Here it's when, I assume when the cars are turning right, most of the accidents happen. And also in the United States, when you're turning right, you don't have to wait at the intersection. You're free to go even if the lights are red. You still, if there is no traffic, you can take the right turn without waiting at the intersection. And once they analyzed all this data, automatically using artificial intelligence, their suggestion was never to turn left. And at first it was very funny to the CEO and many other people, but they deployed it, they ran a pilot, and what discovered is that they dramatically reduced the cost of delivery. Although the cars are circling sometimes, they're taking only right turns, but they're not losing money on accidents and on fuel while waiting for the traffic light to change from red to green. So actually this thing saved them a lot of money, this type of optimization. Another optimization is in courts. So the courts in the United States already using artificial intelligence by optimizing the decision whether to sentence someone or not. So based on someone's history and based on his behavior and based on all of the information that you can find about someone, there are algorithms in the Department of Justice which are able to determine whether the person is guilty or not. So they are optimizing the work of the judge. Another category, language processing and understanding of language. When you're reading something, you can actually understand it, and the computers are getting better and better in understanding. This is just one example from Gmail. So Gmail has this new feature that they introduced, is that when I'm receiving an email, I actually use it a lot, and it says currently, "Hi, Salid, thanks for the great presentation. I'd like to follow up on a couple of things. Do you prefer to meet on Monday or Tuesday?" And here below you can see actually recommendations for an answer that the AI, artificial intelligence, generated automatically. So I don't have to type an answer. It offers me, by the way, it read the email, it understood the content, and it also offers me some options of answers, because it doesn't really know what kind of answer I would prefer, but in that as well it's getting better. So let's meet on Monday, or Monday works for me, or either day works for me. So these are the suggested options. So the artificial intelligence, again, just read the email and understand the content. And other examples, chatbots, for example, is a new topic. So today already we are able to chat with artificial intelligence. Sometimes when you're trying to contact someone, you're writing an email to an organization, you're getting a reply back. Many times it's not actually a human behind the replies. Many times it's artificial intelligence writing us back. We have now chatbots in the service centers. So many times the idea is that you will call, and the person who is going to be picking up the phone on the side of the of the company is not actually a person, it's a virtual assistant like Siri. So we'll see it more and more. What does it mean for customer service representatives? Another example is algorithms that MIT created. Algorithm summarizes lengthy text. So you're giving it, for example, you get in homework a very, very long article. You just feed it to the machine. It can summarize the article for you very, very well. It can pick up all the key points. Google AI translation tool invented its own secret language. So actually, not just artificial intelligence already understands languages, can understand the context of the language. It also now creates its own much more efficient languages by itself. Just a few sporadic examples, there are many more.
Everlaw is a cloud-based e-discovery and litigation platform. That means that it isn't just for processing and review and production, but it extends beyond that into all the stuff that people need to do once they've found interesting documents. The intention is to carry you all the way up into the courtroom. So it is a full-featured integrated platform, all available at one URL. We see as a sort of persistent misconception in the market that you can't have software that is both really powerful and really easy to use. To us, that just doesn't ring true at all. In Silicon Valley, where we are, we look at companies like Apple and Google and others that are taking really, really powerful technology and making it accessible to everyone. And we think that litigation technology can be the same thing. You can have the software that does everything you need it to do in high-stakes, complex litigation, but also delivers that utility in an experience, a user experience that is intuitive and fresh and just easy, comfortable to use. Our partnership with New Legal is really special. Even amongst our partnerships, we have an exclusive arrangement here in Australia and New Zealand that makes New Legal really the face of Everlaw for everyone who's using it in those countries. And that's a big deal to us when we put our...
Yeah. So again, I will send you the links to the movies, but to save time, I'll summarize this clip. So what you saw here is, again, an artificial intelligence-based system which helps lawyers in their trials. So in this example, in the United States, there's a procedure which is called discovery of depositions. So when you want to go to a trial against someone, when you're suing someone, at the first stage, you're receiving his documents and he's receiving your documents, right? So usually big corporations, what they do, if they are being sued and the court says that they have to discover all of their documents to the plaintiff, then you see a fully blown trailer, fully loaded with documents, coming to the law office and unloads all of these documents, and the lawyers have to go over all of these documents. They're sending everything that they have, relevant, non-relevant, it doesn't matter. The idea is to flood the other side with so many documents that he will never have the chance to find things that are really relevant to the case. And what these systems are doing is actually analyzing all of this text automatically and then highlighting for the lawyers which parts are relevant and which parts are not relevant. So if before these law firms, they had to hire many, many paralegals and many, many assistants and many, many lawyers just to go over the documents to find out that they are not relevant. Now they can do it in a matter of minutes using artificial intelligence systems. So again, how many people do they have to hire now? So just to summarize what we went so far, what we went over so far. So once we understand what's the second machine age, right? So what's the difference? What's the difference between the first machine age and the second machine age? What's the difference? We know that the first machine age, what they have there is steam power, right? That was the invention that really bends the curves for the first time. They had steam power, they have mechanical production, mass production, assembly lines, electrical power, many important things, automated production, electronics, computers, and IT stacked in the productivity paradox. And in the second machine age, what we have is artificial intelligence, big data analytics, autonomous robotics. So what's the difference between the two revolutions? What's the main difference? So in the first machine age, what happened is actually the humanity found a way of how to replace human muscles with machines, right? So we no longer have to be dependent on our own muscles. We can ask the machine to do the physical job for us. What's happening in the second machine age, in the second revolution that is unfolding right now, is that the machines are replacing human brains. So this is the process that we are currently seeing, and this is the innovation that is currently unfolding. Another difference is that in the first machine age, the revolution actually killed jobs and created jobs in new sectors, right? So people who were growing horses started producing cars instead, right? Because cars replaced horses. So there were many new industries created, and the people actually shifted to work in the new industries. Now the problem with the second revolution that we are living right now is that artificial intelligence is only killing jobs. It's not creating new jobs. So what does it mean for us? If we will no longer need drivers, we will no longer need cashiers, we will no longer need customer representatives, we will no longer need many people in agriculture who are trying to spray the fields, right? So it's all going to be automatically thanks to artificial intelligence and robotics and things that drive in themselves and flying themselves completely autonomously. So what does it mean for us? How to stay relevant? So a guy whose name is Martin Ford, he wrote a book on the rise of the robots, which addresses this exact problem. It was the best book for 2015 by the Financial Times, and he addresses these problems, and he gives many examples of how the robots are actually completely replacing employees without the employees having new jobs. It's only killing jobs, mainly killing jobs. So we have many articles recently in the last year trying to address this issue. So just a few examples. This is from last week. JP Morgan software does in seconds what took lawyers 360,000 hours. So JP Morgan actually, what they needed is someone to go over all of their contracts for contract enforcing, and now they are doing it completely automatically in seconds instead of hiring an army of lawyers. So actually artificial intelligence is replacing lawyers, it's replacing accountants, it's replacing many jobs. What happens when self-driving cars displace 300 million jobs? The robots are replacing humans in all these Wall Street firms. So actually financial analysts are being replaced by algorithms, because algorithms can analyze stocks much better than human can do it, using its predictive powers. So what does it mean for us?
New economic growth is not adding jobs. What is really happening is the robots which are going to come in a big way.
People are getting skilled but not getting a gig. And people who actually have jobs are not threatened by automation.
So this is an example from India, and what India realized is actually is that 70% of the people are going to be unemployed very, very soon. And what they're trying to do is to promote innovation and try to incentivize the population to open their startups. Because the only way they think that you can escape this problem is by innovating yourself. So if you're stuck in the past, if you're doing the same things that you did for many, many years, your job is going to be eaten by robots. So if you don't want to get eaten by robots, you better innovate by yourself. Create something new. Create your own job. So this is my take on points from this lecture, from this presentation. So you need to stay relevant. And if you need to stay relevant, you need to add new skills all the time. You need to create new things. You need to think in ways that didn't exist before. You have to open your own startups with your own ideas, because otherwise you will become unemployed very, very quickly despite your academic education. And I think that academia has a major role in it, because academia, it was also a problem. Academia created this problem. All of the artificial intelligence was created in the academia, actually. In academia, most of the research in artificial intelligence in robotics is done in universities all around the world, and I think the academia is also a major part of the solution, because the academia has to teach new skills all the time and to adapt itself to what's relevant and what's not relevant anymore. So innovate and build startups, be your own boss. If you're creating your own new industries, then the chances of your job being taken are much lower. And I think that this is the last video at this part of the presentation.
Mostly, I think this is good news. You asked for the good news. I think it's having been ways of helping our healthcare and really creating literally billions and billions of dollars of demonstrable value in many, many businesses. And I think it'll be trillions of dollars going forward. One of the biggest revolutions in human history.
So of course, STEM, I think you cannot easily navigate this world if you have no understanding of science, technology, mathematics. It's an essential component.
What humans have a comparative advantage in is in a couple of areas. Let me highlight them. One is in creativity and thinking outside the box, large-scale problem solving. And the second is in interpersonal relations, emotional intelligence, connecting with other people.
Yeah, so what skills do we need? What skills do we need to develop already? Is first of all, as you heard, STEM, or sciences, math, and everything. This is how you can innovate, how you can build your new technology. That's for one. The other is creativity. And creativity is very hard to learn, but I think that the best faculties dealing with creativity, I don't think so. The research thinks so, is liberal arts. So actually we anticipate that the next wave of managers is going to come from liberal arts, mainly because of the creativity skill set that they're getting when studying art and literature and many other things that are not very, very technical. But please be warned that the future is coming and it's not waiting for us to get prepared, it's just coming. So you need to prepare yourselves as quickly as possible and innovate in order to escape it. So that concludes my first presentation. And do you want to break for 5 minutes or to start immediately the next topic? 5 minutes? Okay, so let's break for 5 minutes, refresh yourself, and in 5 minutes we'll begin the second part.
Thank you very much, our guest speaker, for the first section. นะครับท่านวิทยากรขอเบรก 5 นาทีนะครับผมแล้วเดี๋ยวกลับมาพบกันใหม่ครับ a very short break for 5 minutes, and we'll be back again for the next session. Okay, and welcome back for the second part of our honored guest speaker. Please.
Thank you. So in this part, what I want to discuss is where I'm coming from and what we are trying to do, and I hope that some of the things are going to be relevant, at least for you. Maybe we can share our experiences together in the future as well in order to prepare ourselves better for the future. So I am coming from Israel, as you already know. Just a few words about Israel. It's a very small country. We only have 8.7 million people, and we have lots of challenges. Basically, we are a small country surrounded by many, many enemy states, and we have a lot of wars, as you probably heard on the news, and we don't have a choice but survive. And in order to survive, we have to be very, very innovative and very good in what we are doing if we want our state to continue to exist. So, despite that we are very, very small, you can see here that the investment of dollars per capita is extremely high. It's dramatically higher than Europe and China, in the United States. Israel is almost doubled, more than doubled than the United States in terms of investments that are flowing into the country for new startups. And historically, we had several growth engines. The first one was textile, then we switched to agricultural technologies, then we switched to defense technologies, and in the last years, we are mainly innovating in high-tech industry, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all of these things. Some of the inventions that you probably heard of coming from Israel, so this key that we are carrying around is an invention of an Israeli company, Waze, GPS, the GPS software ICQ, which was the first chat software, cherry tomatoes, one of our agricultural inventions, smart meters, smart helmets for pilots, Iron Dome, many others. These are just sporadic. On the upper left side, you can see a pill cam. This actually, it looks like a pill, like a medical pill that you swallow, and inside you have a camera that actually takes a video of your entire intestines, and then the doctors can analyze whether you have gastro problems. So this is just an example. So in numbers, despite the size, we are constantly ranked among the most innovative countries in the world, #1 in the world for innovation capacity, #1 for business expenses on research and development, #1 for entrepreneurship. This is all from the internationally, from IMD and from WEF rankings. Second for scientific research, third overall innovation. In terms of how many companies we have or startups, so we have more than 400 international R&D centers of IBM, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, you name it. I'm working for Deutsche Telekom, which is the biggest telecom company in Europe for sure, one of the biggest in the world. One of their subsidiaries, T-Mobile US, for example, they have 50 telecoms all around the world. So we have 400 of these. We have 19 venture capital firms, 25 incubators, 200 angels and microfunds, more than 5,000 startups, 10 universities and many, many colleges, 70 accelerators, and the list goes on. So as you see, we are very, very small. So basically, we are a Jewish state surrounded by many, many Muslim Arab states, and this is why we are being jeopardized all the time. And the city of Beersheba, this is where I'm coming from, which is the new cyber capital of Israel. The city that focuses on research on cybersecurity is located 1 hour drive from Tel Aviv, which you probably heard of. I hope so. And until recently, it was a very distant periphery of Israel. It's a very poor region with almost nothing there. So if 10 years ago you would have asked an Israeli what Beersheba is and what he thinks about Beersheba, he would have replied probably with this picture. So it's a very ancient town with camels and Arab citizens and Jewish citizens, but no innovation, no tech, no high tech, nothing. This is how Beersheba looked in 1938. So not much. This is during the Second World War. So it's a very small town, and it changed dramatically in the last 10 years. So again, you're used to videos.
Beersheba is one of the oldest cities in Israel. The first settlers were already sitting here at the Bronze Age, and it was a cross-section all over history. For 6,000 years, Beersheba is an oasis in the middle of the desert. It bridges between past and future. You can find here the Bedouin market and shopping centers. The city offers everyone a unique experience in the middle of Israel.
Beersheba today has a really strong community, young families. There's a lot of things to do, new parks going up. We've got this new science museum. You've got one of the largest high-tech parks in Israel, international companies. You've got tourism coming here from all over the world. You'll be very surprised at what Beersheba has to offer.
Technology companies, it's all about the people. It's all about the talent, it's about the innovation, the motivation, and the collaboration between them, and we found it all here in Beersheba. EMC is a multinational company, 6th largest software company globally. In May 2011, EMC was the first multinational company to join Beersheba in the Advanced Technology Park. We already have more than 35 companies, and we all collaborate on a competitive edge. But we believe that we can create a unique ecosystem to leverage Israel economy and Israel technology.
As a student here at the Ben Gurion campus, we have plenty of social activities during the days and in the evenings. The city has many things to offer us, the young people who live in Beersheba. We can go to restaurants, coffees, bars. We can even go see a show in the theater.
The park was founded in July 2013. There was no other science museum that was ever erected here in the Negev. Since the establishment, over 2 years of activity, we've had about 270,000 visitors come to Beersheba to come and see our park. We're the newest and largest science museum in the entire country. Everything's interactive. Everything's made to learn through fun. Over the last 5 or 6 years, there's been not only one museum that's been established on this street, there's been about 4. When I think about Beersheba, I think about family, I think about community, and when I think about the future of Beersheba, I think about development. Not only economic development, but cultural development, and that's something I think is very important for the future of Beersheba.
Yeah, so in the last, it was a study by one of the biggest universities, Brandeis. They run a study about the future cities, which cities are considered to be ready for the future, and they found 7 cities, which are the future cities, so they called it. So one of them is Istanbul, Turkey, Santiago, Chile, and Beersheba actually scored #1 on that list as a city of the future. Prime Minister, this is our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he actually announced that, and the government announced, the Israeli government, that the Beersheba will not only be the cyber capital of Israel, it's already a cyber capital of Israel, but most important place, one of the most important places in the cybersecurity in the world, cybersecurity research. We have now cyber school for soldiers in Beersheba, 7 cybersecurity oriented programs at Beersheba University. we have a high technologies park, which is relatively new. It's there only 4 years, and it's already seen one major exit of one of the first startups there. Usually startups, they have exits after 5, 6, 7, 10 years, and only after 2 years we had the first exit of a startup which was called Cyactive, and this is what led to the establishment of PayPal, Cybersecurity Research Center in Beersheba. Actually, PayPal bought them, and this is what brought to the establishment of PayPal R&D Center in Beersheba, and it's their main or only cybersecurity research center in the world. We have EMC, it's now Dell EMC. 88% of their employees are coming from Beersheba, in their facility in Beersheba. Just to give you a sense of the human capital, EMC Cyber Solutions Group, Worldwide Cyber Solutions Group, is located in Beersheba. Now they have 140 employees. We have lots of research in the university which has been translated to startups, mainly in cybersecurity, because we decided to focus on several fields that we feel that the Beersheba University has an advantative edge. One of them is cybersecurity, so the university is investing heavily in this field, and we already have some startups coming out from the university. One of them, I'll give you an example, which is called Morphisec. So what the founders of Morphisec, they are university students and university professors working together. So they ask themselves, in the biology, you know, if a virus attacks us, then we are all going to react in different ways, right? To a virus, to a biological virus. Some of us are going to get infected, and some of us are going to get sick. Some of us maybe will even die. But there are also going to be some persons who are not affected by the virus, by the biological virus. And the question that these guys ask themselves is why? Why it happens like this in nature? And because in the computer domain, if you've been infected by a virus, and then probably your neighbor is going to be affected, and this computer and that computer, all are going to be infected in the same way, because they're all running the same operating system, which looks the same. In the nature, it's not like this, because we're all different. We all have small mutations between each other, and this is how nature actually saves us. Because of our mutations, we all react differently to viruses. And what these guys wanted to do is actually to apply this principle to the computer domain. What they wanted to do is to take each and every one of the computers that we have in the world and to introduce small mutations into each and every one of them, so that then when the virus tries to attack it, it will not know even how to insert into the system because of the mutation. Because it looks different, every system looks different than the other. And on the basis of this idea, they established a startup, and they already have almost 50 employees and 50,000 installations, and the amount of installations is increasing dramatically. So this is Morphisec, just one example of how research, which begins in the university, can be spinned out, can take a life of its own. And there are many, many examples in our university. In Bernard University, they also have several incubators, and I understood that you have incubators as well. So if a student has an idea, something new, some idea for innovation, he can have the space, he can have his computer, he can have mentors trying to help him to materialize this idea from idea to a startup. The National CERT, the Cyber Emergency Response Team, the National CERT is also located in Beersheba. So this is how the government actually realized that Beersheba is going to focus on cyber, and now all efforts in the university and in the government are all focused on Beersheba becoming a cyber capital. So this is why the government decided to relocate the CERT to Beersheba. This is why the government decided also to build a cyber school in Beersheba, both for students and both for soldiers. We have 9 high schools in Beersheba teaching cybersecurity. 17 cyber companies in the park. It's a bit outdated, these slides. Now we have over 40 companies in the park focused on cybersecurity. in the science park. Forbes magazine named JVP, which is a venture capital city in Beersheba, as one of the best venture capital firms in Israel, and it's also in Beersheba. One of the best venture capitals in the world, sorry. Hundreds of patents being created at the university in the field of security and big data. Actually, Ben-Gurion University last year, they ranked number 91 in the United States. The United States, they have a ranking for universities, which universities submit the most patents in the United States. So Ben-Gurion University from Beersheba ranked 91 last year in the United States. Most of the patents are being submitted in Israel, but if you only count the patents submitted in the United States, then we rank 91, right one place beyond Princeton, 2 places beyond Yale. QS rating, if you're familiar with QS rating, they have this rating which ranks all of the best universities in the world, where constantly we have Harvard #1, Yale #2, Stanford, Oxford, all these big guys. And they have additional ranking, which is called Best Newest Universities in the World. And Ben-Gurion University is considered to be new because it's under 50 years old of age. So what QS did, they ranked all of the universities around the world which are under 50 years old of age. And we constantly ranked in top 20 in the world. Last year we ranked number 18, sorry. Deutsche Telekom laboratories decided that their innovation laboratory is going to be located in Beersheba. Deutsche Telekom is one of the biggest telecom companies in the world. They have more than 50 telecoms all around the world, mainly in Europe, but not only in Europe. They are United States, for example. They have T-Mobile US. It's their company. They have OTE, which is a telecom which provides services to Greece, Cyprus. They have telecoms in Hungary. And they have telecoms in many, many places in the world. And they decided that they are going to have only 3 innovation centers in the world. One of them is in Germany, because they're a German company, and it works out very nicely for them. The second one is in Silicon Valley, in collaboration with Stanford. And the third innovation center, that's where I'm working, is actually located in Beersheba. We have our cybersecurity research center, which runs lots of research on cybersecurity, and is constantly being cited on the most prestigious news outlets. Wall Street Journal, Wired, we're constantly there, at least 1 publication per month in one of the biggest publications, mass media. So what happened from the city that 10 years ago had only camels, no high-tech, nothing? What brought the change to being one of the 7 future cities, according to Brandeis? What happened that research from Beersheba has been constantly published on the best newspapers in the world, not to mention, obviously, academic journals and conferences? So what happened? What brought the change? So we believe that what happened to Beersheba, the best thing that could happen to Beersheba is the fact that the university was established there. So, like I told you, it's a relatively new university. It was established less than 50 years old, and it completely changed the area. So from extremely poor, extremely far away region with extremely not educated population, suddenly, after the university was established and it grows very quickly. 20 years ago, the university had only 5,000 students. Now, the university has 20,000 students, and in the next 5 years, it's going to double itself. It's going to have 40,000 students, and it focuses mainly on technology. So 1/3 of the research of engineering in Israel is done at Ben-Gurion University. And we think that it's very, very important for the region. This is what led this high-tech boom in the area. I told you about it, that Ben-Gurion is ranked 91 in patents submitted in the United States, and most of the patents, as you can see, is actually in communications, computer, IT, cybersecurity, and 3rd in medical related research. So it's very technology oriented. And 5 years ago, the university, together with additional industrial partners, they decided to build a new science park, a new technological park. And this is how the park looks like. It's not yet still there. We don't have all the buildings. We currently have only 3 buildings out of all that you see. But in these 3 buildings, what we currently have is more than 40 international companies, more than 70 startups, 2 venture capital firms, 10 accelerators, several incubators. So it's very technology driven. And we are going to have 15 buildings like this one, only in the civil part of the park. And in the military part, we are going to have additional 15 buildings. And the government decided that all of the military software units and cybersecurity units are going to move to Beersheba in the next 5 years. So this is also something that's going to boost the capabilities that we have in terms of human capital in the region. The government also decided that Beersheba is going to be the first digital city. So we currently are building the infrastructure for smart city. This is a movie about the science park.
Ben-Gurion's vision of developing Israel's Negev region through scientific excellence is being fulfilled at the Gavyam Negev Advanced Technologies Park in Beersheba. In just a couple of years, the Gavyam Negev Advanced Technologies Park has become a magnet for success, attracting multinational companies searching for novel ideas, unique innovations, and new opportunities.
The combination of willing students that are really passionate about this field, with companies that need solutions to problems and issues that they have, I think this is a huge draw of people and companies to come to the park.
The Gavyam Negev Park brings together the best of academia, the public sector, and private entrepreneurs.
The sharing idea is that knowledge from the scientific world is coming together with the classical product insights from a corporate.
The park is located at the heart of Beersheba's evolving science quarter, within walking distance of Ben-Gurion University, the Soroka University Medical Center, and the new IDF Technology Campus, which will be built next to the park. Ben-Gurion University is a fountain of scientific knowledge with dozens of centers of excellence, scientists and researchers who are driven by an applicative approach. Beersheba, the city of opportunities, offers new momentum in the form of private and governmental investments. In addition to the IDF Elite Technology Campus that is being developed adjacent to the Gavyam Negev Park, the Israeli government decided to base the National Cyber Center in the park itself.
All the parts of the ecosystem really existed here. And that's what we look for when we go into locations.
The Gavyam Negev Park is the fruit of a unique partnership between BGU, the city of Beersheba, KUD International of the Kajima Corporation, and Gavyam of the PBC IDB Group, Israel's premier high-tech and science park developers. In the coming decade, the park is expected to expand and include more than 10,000 of Israel's brightest talent.
Business is always about not going where everybody goes.
I think future is here, and we would like to have cooperation here.
The Gavyam Negev Advanced Technologies Park, with a new type of ecosystem, features abundant partnerships and collaborations. It's a must-see technology hub, and it's on its way to becoming a global center of scientific excellence and new developments that will impact the future of the world.
So that's a little bit dramatic, but I think that makes the point of academia that transformed entirely the region from being nothing, from being just desert with a few camels, to a very advanced, technology-driven city. So besides the academy, we know that the academy is one of the ingredients that we need to have. But besides the academy, it's obvious that the academy alone cannot do the change by itself. So we need additional ingredients. And the additional ingredients in Israel that we have the startups, we have the military, and we have the corporates, and actually we have exchange of people between them all the time. So when you are growing up in Israel, every 18-year-old kid, he has to go to the army. Whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter. At 18, you are being drafted to the army, and our army is extremely technology-driven because we are very small as a nation, and around us are countries which used to be our enemies, and some of them still are, and they have huge amount of people. So we always knew that we cannot outnumber our enemies, and they are outnumbering us by a matter of several proportions. So we always have to be better in terms of technology. We just didn't have a choice. And this is why our military is very technology-driven, and we have many, many technological units. So we have the brightest kids, 18-year-old kids, going to the army, to software units, to cybersecurity units, and after they're being released, they're going to the academia. So not all of them are going to the academia. Some of them are going to startups, opening their own startups. Some of them are going to companies. We have big cybersecurity companies in Israel. Checkpoint is one of them. It's an Israeli company. And some of them are going to the academia. In the academia, they advance their knowledge. And once they finish the academia, again, they're going to startups, they're going to corporates. Some people from the corporates, after a few years in big companies, going to form their startups. So it's circle. People are always changing stations, and we have this spillover effect of gaining knowledge at some place, and then you use this knowledge in other places. And everybody wins at the end. And this is also what creates an ecosystem, a collaboration between all of these entities, because at the end of the day, everything is personal. So if I have friends who I served with the military, and some of them are still in the military, some of them are now at the industry, some of them in the academia, so we constantly exchanging ideas between us, and constantly collaborating with each other, and this is what creates actually the environment, this is what creates the ecosystem. So what do you have to have in academia? So IP sharing, obviously, with the industry. DNA, that's what we have, and this is what we think that is needed for the ecosystem that we have. So DNA for joint ventures with industry partners, and as you saw, the university collaborates with many, many industry partners, such as Deutsche Telekom and other companies and governmental agencies. We have many, many industrial partners we're working with, focusing on applied research, not just writing theoretical papers that are useful, that are not very useful in the next decade, but try to actually create something new. We have shared research facilities between the university and companies and startups, updated syllabus with the industry, so we constantly try to reach out to the industry and ask them, the university asks them, are we still relevant? So this is the syllabus that I want to teach. For example, I'm teaching at the university, I'm teaching innovation, and each semester I'm contacting at least 10 multinational companies at most senior levels and asking them as a friend to check whether my syllabus is still relevant for them. So what I'm teaching the children, the kids at the university, I want to make sure that they're getting the skills that are relevant this semester and not relevant last year, because the things are changing dramatically quickly. We saw the example with the DARPA challenge. So what students learned in 2005 is no longer relevant in 2007 in terms of autonomous driving, for example. So we want to be constantly updated. High quality people obviously is always a good idea, and accreditation for industry employees. In terms of government, so at least in our case, there's a governmental effort, governmental emphasis on our region, our area. So one of the things that the government did, actually I think they did two very important things. One of them is offering subsidies to companies who are moving to the south, and they're helping with salaries. Actually, if you're a cybersecurity company and you're moving to Beersheba, then the government is going to compensate you for the salaries that you're paying to your employees for 20%. And additional thing that the government did, I think, is also very important, is not interfere with the company. So not lots of regulation, at least in high tech and cybersecurity. They are giving the companies the ability to steer in which direction they want. Since we're short on time, I'll skip some of this, but I can share with you the presentation. So the industry. So first you have to have a critical mass of companies. So the first company that came to Beersheva was Deutsche Telekom. The others followed, like EMC, Lockheed Martin, Oracle, IBM, Intel. Many companies decided to move. And once we have a critical amount of big multinational companies, now we have a constant flow of visitors and startups and many others who saw that the core companies are there, and now they want to move to Beersheva as well. It's just like a mall. When you're trying to occupy a mall with certain stores, then you want to see core brands there, and then the others are arriving as well. And in terms of human capital, so again, everyone works together, academia and the industry, in order to try to educate the people, try to create new leaders. And the leaders are constantly being updated with the technological developments to stay relevant. And of course the environment, which is the last ingredient that I think is very important. So we have the city and the mayor extremely supporting and trying to push our city forward. Embracing innovation, openness to new ideas, all the things that are very important. So current tenants is just a partial list, but we have Deutsche Telekom, Cyactiv that was bought by PayPal, National Cert, RAD, DB Motion, Dell EMC, Leidos, which is Lockheed Martin previously, Leidos Bottom, Oracle, Wix, many names. Just a partial list. Like I told you, we have more than 40 multinationals and 70 startups. This is just a few examples. And how we can go over a few slides without a video in between.
It is enchanting and strengthening, and every time I come to Beersheva, there is a special feeling and sense of mission.
I was born in Beersheva, so I really see how the city evolves over almost 4 decades. There's a huge development in Beersheva, from a city that was really focused on supporting the chemical plants.
This is Beersheva 50 years ago.
High tech via the university.
For many years there was a talk about the Advanced Technology Park in Beersheva. So we signed up with the university and the city to actually establish our location in the Advanced Technology Park. And as we committed financially, the building started.
I think originally Ben-Gurion wanted to try to bring people into the Negev. And the biggest problem was always places for work.
We saw that there could be a big opportunity for a new direction for Beersheva, and we came up with the idea together of creating the National Cyber Incubator for the South and for the country, with a partnership between an academic institutions, the high-tech community, the government, and the region.
Beersheva has a perfect opportunity. From one hand, all the IT units of the army and the army in general are moving to the south. They are going to create very advanced, skillful people in the area of cybersecurity and information technology in general. And on the other hand, there is the university that creates a lot of freshmen, a lot of excellent students that can support. And both the army and the university can create the employees that are really needed by the high-tech industry.
High-tech is about the people. It's about the knowledge, and it's about the aggregation of the knowledge to create clusters of innovation, of competitiveness. And Beersheva is a place where people get fantastic knowledge. The university is really producing great students. So all our cybersecurity projects are actually coming from Beersheva.
People don't just study here. People come here to be involved in something that is greater than just university.
In a matter of 18 months, there's a new building with 250,000 square feet. There's 639 new employees in Beersheva, and there's a vision that is now not only a vision of the university, but it's also a vision for the South.
I can tell you 4 years ago when I was serving in the Army, I used to have to go through Beersheva quite a bit during my basic training. And I remember things were, not so clean, and then now I come back when I move here 4 years later. It's gorgeous. What they've done is amazing. I'm happy that I'm kind of part of this vision.
Beersheva went from, let's say, 100 high-tech people a year ago to 1,000 this year to 11,000 in 7 years.
We want every American company. We want every international company. We want every major Israeli company that today has a major problem with cybersecurity or a challenge to come to this center of excellence. We don't want it to be the best place in Israel. We want it to be the leading place in the world.
The university is the heart of the Negev. It is the heart and the brains of the Negev, and there is nothing like Ben-Gurion University in terms of social responsibility for the environment. It's an agent of change, it's an agent of excellence in education, it's the agent of health. So there is a service to the society that is coming from Ben-Gurion University. It shines.
How do we know that we're on the right track? How do we know that we're doing something so outstanding? The Prime Minister claims now that it was his idea. That means that we're on the right track, and everybody tries to take credit for it.
Now I'm really feeling finally that things are happening. Beersheva is changing.
EMC, RSA, Deutsche Telekom, Lockheed Martin, Oracle, this is happening.
This city is going through major changes, from a peripheral city to a more central and very successful city.
More and more students will stay in Beersheva, and Beersheva is really becoming more and more the cyber city of Israel.
We feel that we are part of something bigger, and we are really building something.
I believe that we are creating a new geography with a new economy, addressing a new population in the growth of the state of Israel.
Fulfill Ben-Gurion's vision.
This is what is happening right now.
And all of this, my good friends, is because of you. You have been great partners to our realization of Ben-Gurion dreams and mission from 60 years ago. This is the time of the Negev. The Jewish people has a 5,000 years of history, but the future is here, in the Negev, in Beersheva, and in Ben-Gurion University. Thank you very much for your ongoing, continuous support of this wonderful university and our great mission. Thank you.
Yeah, also a little bit dramatic, but I think it conveys the message that the last ingredient is actually the vision. So without the vision, you cannot achieve a lot. Even if you have the ingredients there, you have academia, the government, you have the municipality, whatever you have, you need to have a vision. And our vision was becoming the cyber capital of the world. We didn't want to be just the best in cybersecurity in Israel. We wanted to be the best in cybersecurity in the world. And now, we actually, last week, I met with the cyber advisor of President Obama, who came to us to ask for advice of what to do in terms of cyber. So we now see that this vision is being realized. and we're just on time, so I wanted to thank you for sharing the last 3 hours here with me, and thank you for coming. And if you have any questions, just feel free. I'll leave my details here, and you can just email me with questions. Please feel free. Again, thank you for your hospitality.
Do you have any questions? No. Do you know how to survive already? รู้ยังว่าจะรอดยังไง So okay, on behalf of Rajamankala University of Technology Isan, I would like to express my sincere thanks for your really essential information. I think in this world, it's very difficult to live now. But because of your information, I think we can find a way how to survive with the, let's say, what you call the second machine age, right?
Yes, yes, the second machine age.
That's very important because I think it's not evolution, it's revolution. That's really changed a lot. So I think our students at Rajamankala University of Technology can learn from you, and I think we can survive with your information. And I hope that maybe our university can have opportunity to visit very famous university at Israel. And again, on behalf of Rajamankala University of Technology Isan, I would like to express my sincere thanks for your coming. Please join me to give a big hand to my friend from Israel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your hospitality and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
ขอบคุณมากนะครับทุกคนที่มาร่วมฟังนะถ้าใครสนใจเดี๋ยวให้จันสองช่วยแปลนะฮะเดี๋ยวอัดเทปไว้หมดแล้วนะฮะแต่เชื่อว่าทุกคนฟังออกหมดเห็นหน้าตาสดชื่นทุกคนเลยขอบคุณมากครับ